Justice with Judge Mablean will be life because in everything we do, it involves the law.
You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good, this one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for that ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
say.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Stuart Peterson is suing Brian King in the amount of $2,000. Mr. Peterson claims his friend begged him to throw a party and says a window was broken when Mr. King ignored the rules of the venue and let too many people in. Mr. King claims there's no proof the window was broken by one of the people he let into the party, so he's not responsible.
This is a matter of Stuart Peterson versus Brian King. And Mr. Peterson, you're suing for $2,000. The alleged claim is for breach of contract, and you want back the deposit and the rental fee and all that you paid for this party. And you blame your cohort there, Mr. King, for causing a ruckus and not getting your deposit back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, tell me about it.
So, Your Honor, we have been talking about having a party. Really, it was Brian who's been coming up to me and begging me, let's have a party. We have the same birthday. Let's do a party together. I've been kind of resistant for a while because he has a history of being a party animal, drinking too much, causing problems, but eventually we were living in the same town and he convinced me that we'd keep things under control. It'd be a nice, civilized party. So we find a venue together. We both meet with the venue owner together. We read over the contract together, and he also signs this contract that very clearly states there should be no more than 50 guests in the venue at any time. And so we come up with a guest list together and submit it with the contract to the venue owner. So on the day of the party, everything is going well for the first couple of hours. I have my cousin manning the door. He has some history with being a bouncer. He has military experience, so he was going to make sure that, you know, everybody who came in was on the list, that nobody else came in. So everything was going well. About 2 hours in, Brian here was a little drunk. He had a little too much to drink. There was a big group of people coming in the door, and he slipped in some extra friends, some people who were not on the guest list that we did not agree to. And shortly thereafter, we heard glass break, and as my cousin can attest, it was one of his friends that broke the window and then fled the venue.
Broke what window?
One of the windows in the venue. It's a very big old window. It costs $1,500 to repair. So in addition to the $500 rental fee, I also had to front the $1,500 damage to the venue, to the window.
How much was the deposit?
The deposit was $1,000, which I also paid. So we paid an additional $500 to meet the $1,500 cost of the damage, plus the $500 for the venue rental.
All right, let me hear from your witness first.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
So, Your Honor, Stuart is my younger cousin, and he was really excited for this 30th birthday party. And I was, you know, wanting to help him out. I do security, as he mentioned. I was serving in the military, and I wanted to help him out. So he gave me this list, and he said, "Eric, I need you to make sure that only individuals on this list come into this party."
So what happened?
So I'm manning the door and I'm checking people off. I have the list in front of me. Brian here, he's pretty inebriated. He comes up to me and he has about 5 or 6 people that are just all of a sudden the door is rushed with a lot of people. And I'm trying to manage the door because there were people, you know, that I was bringing into the party. And Brian's like, "Hey, I want to bring these individuals in the party. You know, Stuart's aware of it." I was like, "Wait, hold on a second. They're not on the list, Brian." And he's like, "Come on, this is my party as well." And I'm like, "Okay, that is true. It is his birthday party as well." So what I did was I actually closed the door to go to find Stuart. And when I went to go find Stuart, that's when Brian let those individuals
opened the door and let him in.
Yes, Your Honor.
I see.
And so when I went and saw Stuart, he was very alarmed.
Did you kick him out?
So, well, go ahead, Stuart.
Yeah,
no, I'm talking to you. Who kicked him out?
So what happened? So I told Stuart he did not know what they looked like. So I would go find the individuals. At that moment, someone in that group threw a bottle, hit the window, It busted, and that individual went out through the fire exit.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let me hear from you, Mr. King.
Thank you, you lovely judge. So, just
That'll
understand.
get you nowhere.
Well, I've known Stuart for 10 years now. We college buddies. And like, I've been talking to him for the last 2 to 3 years about, hey, let's join a birthday party together. You know, it's my dirty 30, it's our dirty 30, which is like refined like glass of wine. So I'm like, yo, let's do this together. I was like, he had this contract, I signed it.
Did you read it?
I skimmed through it.
So you didn't read it?
I did not read it thoroughly, no.
Did he tell you what it said?
He told me that we had to bring 50 guests, around 50. So I was like,
Around 50 or 50?
yes, around 50. That's
Let me
what he
see the
told me.
contract. I love these arounds and next to and near about and almost. Nothing is precise these days. Let me see what it says. Guest limit. No more than 50 guests. In bold capital letters.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
Had you cleared it with Stuart? Did you tell Stuart there's some additional people who are here that we forgot or I forgot and that's not on the list? Is it okay for them to come in?
I
Don't tell me I assume.
yes, I did not say that, ma'am.
And later,
You know, it's strangers coming through the community to look at the Christmas lights. You don't bother to say to your neighbor, maybe you and the girls can come over and help me pick up this trash. Why not?
Justice with Judge Mablean. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Stuart Peterson, who is suing Brian King for $2,000.
The contract says, due to the nature of our event space, we ask the client strictly enforce our capacity limit of no more than 50 guests. I don't see anything on here that says only the 50 guests on this list. So I'm going to ask you, because you give a party and you ask 50 guests and you name 50 on the list, but we all know we have folks that we leave off the list when we're putting a list for a party together, right?
Yeah, so Your Honor, we...
Hold on a second, I haven't finished.
Yep.
Was there, maybe I should ask the bouncer because you on the other side. Maybe I should ask you this question. Was there room for more or had anyone left the facility?
At that time, Your Honor, we've had this party go on for 2 hours, and there were no incidents. And
I didn't ask you that.
Yep.
and the guests and the guests were enjoying themselves.
I didn't ask you that.
Well,
You had a list of 50 people.
yes, Your Honor.
Had you checked in, and during that 2 hours, had you checked in all 50 people?
I had not, Your Honor, at that time.
And during that 2 hours, did any of the people that you checked in exit?
I would assume, Your Honor.
So you're not sure. You had not checked in all 50. You're not certain whether anyone had left. So you're not certain whether there was room for 5 more guests.
Exactly, and I was sure that there wasn't room for 5 to 7 very unruly guests.
Well, there is no rule, nothing on here that says unruly. And let me ask you, Mr. Peterson, where were you during this party for 2 hours?
So I had one drink, was hanging out with some friends. I was making the rounds, trying to mingle with everybody that I knew.
So you don't know if the room was filled to capacity or not?
No, I don't think there's any way to know for sure exactly how many people were in the room.
So it was your problem that he let in someone that wasn't on this list, or that he went over capacity?
Your Honor, I believe the issue is that we had a list so that we knew exactly which 50 people would be in the venue. If some people who weren't on the list had come in and then people who were on the list came in and my cousin had to check them off, then we would have gone above the capacity even though he was checking people off who were on the list. So it's a huge risk to let people in.
But the owner of the venue said no more than 50 people at any given time.
Right.
Your Honor.
So it left you some leeway.
So, Your Honor, Brian here told me he cleared it. He cleared it with Stuart for these 5 to 7
Did you
individuals.
tell him
come in.
that?
He did.
I told him they're good to come in because it's like my guests or his guests since we're
And you
it
told
together.
me you cleared it with Stewart.
Yeah,
and he was
because
in the loop.
Yeah,
Had you
because
cleared it with Stewart? Did you tell Stewart there's some additional people who are here that we forgot or I forgot and that's not on the list? Is it okay for them to come in? Don't tell me I assume.
Yes, I did not say that, ma'am. I was
Okay.
looking for Stewart, and I did not see him. He was over drinking somewhere. I was like, okay.
Because that place was so big, you couldn't find him.
it was. I was like,
Oh,
it's so
come on.
dark, partying, you know.
Here's
getting
the
our groove
problem
on.
I have. If you had an agreement that only these 50 people that's on this list can come in, and you've admitted that these people were not on the list, then you've breached the contract by letting other people in. You breached the contract, you went over the list, one of your guests caused damages, that was because of your breach, so you're responsible for your guest's damage.
But I wasn't sure if it's my guest, though.
But I have a witness that said it was.
It's his cousin. That's biased.
And he can't tell the truth because he's his cousin? You trusted him to be the bouncer?
I
You
wasn't-
trusted him to do this list?
I wasn't informed that he's going to be the bouncer.
Oh,
he just
come
said,
on. He
"Someone's
just
gonna
said
come."
you all did this together.
No, he said, I got
Okay, so
some-
now just because he's his cousin, he's a liar.
I wouldn't say a liar, but
But the man
biased.
said, wait a minute, if he had just come up here today and made this up that it was one of your guests, he said, I closed the door. I shut the door. I stopped these uninvited guests from coming in. I went to find Stewart to see if what you said was true, that these people could come in. By the time he got back, they had pushed their way in and now throwing a bottle when he's going to get them out. Come on.
The only reason why I opened the door is because that's a fire.
You shouldn't have opened the door at all.
That's a fire hazard.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a fire hazard, ma'am.
Oh, really?
Yes,
what was the
ma'am.
fire hazard? Because too many people on the list?
No, because there's a capacity is 50 people.
Uh-oh. Because the capacity is what?
50 people.
Now we know.
Now you know it was
Now
50
we know.
people. Did he just tell on himself?
Around 50 people.
My daddy said you let a person talk too long, they'll kill themselves. Give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves. You just hung yourself. Judgment for the, nope, not for the plaintiff. You still have to pay your $250 for the rental because that's half. But with respect to the damages and the security deposit, that's due to your breach. That $1,500 was due to your breach. That's why you didn't get the deposit back of $1,000. You had never given him your share anyway. So the $1,500 is on you.
After 1,000, right? I've been offering the
You've been
1,000.
offering $1,000?
And he's
Well, don't you
like,
waste my time?
No,
I'm ordering $1,500, give him that check for $1,000, pay him another $500, hand him the check. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $1,500.
You ruined the party, but at least I didn't have to pay for the damages.
It was a cool party. I agree with the judge. I'll just pay.
Yeah, the check better not bounce.
Coming up,
You know, it's strangers coming through the community to look at the Christmas lights. You don't bother to say to your neighbor, maybe you and the girls can come over and help me pick up this trash. Why not?
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Susan Avery is suing Craig Duran in the amount of $500. Ms. Avery says her neighbor's Christmas decorations are so lavish that people come from miles around to see them and claims her yard is full of trash as a result. Mr. Duran claims he puts up his Christmas lights for his daughters and says he can't control who comes and admires them.
In the matter of Susan Avery versus Craig Duran, you are suing Mr. Duran for $500. You said his Christmas decorations caused your lawn to become a trash can.
Yes.
And you had to do something extra in order to keep it clean.
I did.
Are you Scrooge?
I don't think I am. I may be a little bah humbug, but I'm definitely not Miss Scrooge.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
I live on a neighborhood, and I clearly have icicle lights on my house. But Mr. Duran chooses to take his obsessive compulsion for Christmas decorations one step further and has lit up our neighborhood to where we get flocks and flocks of people on foot and in cars coming to look at his hideous, maybe, display of Christmas decorations.
Hideous, huh?
And I feel that because of that, excessive trash on my lawn and my flowers and my plants have been trampled, and I have had to hire the landscaping company that does the HOA services come in and do my lawn 2 times extra a week because of the excessive trash and destruction that's being done to my lawn.
And how much is this 2 times extra costing you?
The total comes to $500 a month.
Coming up,
Have you ever asked him, would he and his daughters pick up the trash out of your yard? A simple request.
No.
You just chose to sue him.
closed captioning provided by. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Susan Avery, who is suing Craig Duran for property damage.
So is she correct that as your neighbor, her yard gets a lot of trash?
I've seen some of the trash that she speaks of, and I wish I could somehow stop people from doing it. However, my daughters and myself are always willing and able to help with any cleanup.
Well, have you done that?
We've tried to talk to her, Miss Avery, about this.
And?
Her attitude is like, she does not want to talk about it. She just wants us to tear down everything.
Your neighbors. There's trash all over your yard. You know it's not him. You know it's strangers coming through the community to look at the Christmas lights. You don't bother to say to your neighbor, since it's your decorations, these strangers are coming to look at it. Maybe you and the girls can come over and help me pick up this trash, or maybe you can just come over and pick it up. Why not?
I felt that since I had talked to him before about his lights being excessive.
It's his decorations, and it's a matter of opinion whether it's excessive.
Okay.
The only thing you can be concerned about is the trash on your yard. Have you ever asked him, would he and his daughters pick up the trash out of your yard? A simple request.
No.
You just chose to sue him.
Somewhat, yes.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. Promotional consideration provided by. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
When you speak to a neighbor in a neighborhood dispute, when you go and have a conversation with the neighbor, you should try first to resolve it with your neighbor and say, do X, Y, and Z. And when you do that and the neighbor says, nope, I'm not going to do it, that's one thing. But you never asked him or his children to clean up your trash. You just went in and paid the landscaper more. You just don't like what he's doing, and that's your business. But I don't think that it has to be responsible for paying you, for paying a landscaper to pick up trash when he could have picked up the trash if you had asked and you didn't even offer. Ask him to do that. I can't make him responsible for other human beings' behavior and being rude and disrespectful of your lawn. I'm sure it wasn't just your lawn. I'm sure it was other lawns in the neighborhood as well, including his. Just ask your neighbor to do it. Now, I'm suggesting, I can't make it an order to you, that you and your children do that for your neighbor each day during the time that you have these decorations up. Each day.
Each day.
Each day. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Judgment for the defendant.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I'm sorry it came to this. I should have just asked you.
Me and my daughters will help you from now on.
This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.